Hi everyone, I'm Jeff, and I'd like to welcome you back to Jeff's Nonsport Card Universe, where we look at the history, evolution, and just plain fun of collecting non-sport cards. Now today we're going to look at another one of the foundational sets for those who collect the early non-sport cards, and it also happens to be a personal favorite of mine. It's the 1909-1910 Hassan Animals cards. These are absolutely beautiful, breathtaking cards. Now, we need to do just two quick things of history to give a context for these cards. First of all, smoking became incredibly popular at this time. Consider these numbers. Allen and Ginner produced 689 million cigarettes that year. W.R. Irby Company of New Orleans sold over 450 million cigarettes. W. Duke and Sons of North Carolina, over 1 billion cigarettes. The American Tobacco Company was the big one of all. Unbelievable how popular smoking was. Men smoked because they thought it made them more manly. Women started smoking in great numbers because they felt it made them more liberated. This was a time before they could actually vote, remember. Even some manufacturing companies touted smoking as a wonderful healthful thing because by smoking and drawing in the smoke deeply and exhaling it, people would be getting rid of the impurities and the particles from the factories. So yeah, it was a little bit different time. All right, there were dozens of cigarette brands that came out at this time. A cigarette war took place. The different cigarette companies started putting premiums in their cigarettes to try to lure smokers to their brands. The cards we're talking about today came with Hassan cigarettes, and this is what the cases look like, the packages that the cards came in. All right, number two, zoos have been around forever. The ancient Romans actually had their own version, so did the Egyptians. But in the United States, it wasn't until the 1870s that zoos really became established. As a matter of fact, the first major zoo established in this country was 1874 in Philadelphia. Most kids couldn't get to a zoo, so the information they got about wild animals was mostly from books. Then we start getting animals cards in cigarette issues, and for my money, the best one is the Hassan series. Now, because kids couldn't get to zoos, they flocked to these cards like wildfire. Adults loved them too because they were so neat. Now let's look at a few of the cards so you can see what I'm talking about. Here is your typical example from the set. This is the Magot. It's not the maggot, although that's what the spelling looks like. These are breathtaking, absolutely beautiful images. As a matter of fact, they became so prized, they were used for many non-sport card sets for as much as 25 years after this one was issued. So this is the Magot. This is one of my favorites from the set. How about the Nile crocodile? Absolutely gorgeous. How about Rupel's vulture? This is another one of my favorites from the set. It's absolutely beautiful. Now we get to, how about the rhinoceros? Beautiful card. How about the snake hawk? Beautiful. Here is your classic leopard card. How about the water buck? I mean, look at these. Incredible drawings. The Goriza monkey. That's beautiful. How about the roan antelope? That's one of my favorites. I just think that's so striking. And then how about the good old Klipspringer? I love the color combinations in that. Lalande's dog. There were some domestic animals in here, but most of them were wild animals. How about the lion and the lioness? That's a neat combination card. How about the wildebeest? That's pretty cool. Here's the waterbuck. And then how about the vulture-like guinea fowl? All right, now, a little information about this set. The first 40 cards in the set, there are 80 total. The first 40 were actually issued in the summer and fall of 1909. These cards had on the back just the advertisement for Hassan cigarettes. That's all you got. But the first 40 were so incredibly popular, the American Tobacco Company that owned Hassan cigarettes, they saw the interest out there. And for the second 40 cards, which were issued in the spring of 1910, they started putting very detailed descriptions of the animals on the back. These descriptions had such things as where exactly the animals lived, their dispositions, whether they were wild or whether they were tame, and information also about what they ate, where they slept, just basic information like that. Now remember, most kids couldn't go to zoos, most adults couldn't. There weren't that many in the country. So this was like having a zoo in your own room at home. That's why these were so popular at the time. All right, a couple other things about collecting the set. For those who collect the set, the backs are very important. Most of the cards were issued by factory 649. So if you have a stack of these cards, most of them are just going to have factory 649 on the back. However, the more rare in here are the factory 30 cards, and they are prized by collectors and command a little bit more of a premium. However, the big kahuna here, I'll show you one of mine that's one of my prized possessions. This is the civet cat, and look at the back of this, totally blank. But on the front, at the bottom, it says factory 25. There's a great debate in the hobby. Were these simply print errors? Possible. Were they proof cards? In other words, a trial balloon sent out to find out whether kids would actually like these? Or think about this. What else was being produced at this particular time through the American Tobacco Company? Guess what? The T206 baseball issue. This is my chief vendor. Now, this is by Piedmont Cigarettes, a sister branch of the American Tobacco Company, another brand. Guess what? Factory 25. So did they stop producing the animal cards at Factory 25 because they exclusively went to doing the baseball issues, the famous T206 set? Well, we'll never really know the answer to that. But it's another one of those great debates in the non-sport hobby that all of us talk about. That's one of the fun things I love about this, is all the speculation that goes with it. Now, a few other things quickly about this set. For cards that are over 100 years old, they're surprisingly inexpensive. Your average card will be somewhere between $5 and $7, depending on condition, and depending on if it has one of the rarer factory backs on it or a blank back. The blank backs can go for hundreds of dollars in really, really nice condition. So if you're looking through a stack of these and see some blank backs, grab them if they're not too expensive. All right, the other thing is, the first 40 had the advertising, the second 40 had the descriptions. Hobbyists consider this one set, not two separate issues, but 80 together total comprise this whole set. All right, it's not that difficult to put a set together of the regular cards. The issue is finding them in decent condition. People love these cards, so they put them in their shirt pockets, they put them in their pants pockets, they walked around with them. It's tough to find these in pristine condition because they were loved so much. And I think that's great. That says a wonderful thing about this particular set. All right. So we have absolutely beautiful cards. We have images that were so good they were used for many other sets later on as well. And we have something that's, it's a little sad on one level because many of these animals are now on the endangered species list, or people just don't see them anymore at all, which is really sad. So it's somewhat a time capsule in looking back at the world too. So that's a look at the 1909-1910 Hassan Animals Set. If you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe. Also, if you haven't gone to therappermagazine.com to get your free issue of the hobby's premier magazine for non-sport card collecting, please do. So until next time, enjoy your cards, enjoy collecting, have fun, everyone.